It starts with a cough. Not yours, someone else's, maybe 2 rows down at the pharmacy or in line at the post office. You notice it just for a second and try not to think much of it. But there's a lingering pause in your mind, a sense memory of 2020. Empty shelves, face masks, isolation, and the weight of worry that came with every sniffle. Now here we are again, not in panic, not quite, but with a whisper of something familiar moving through the air. Covid-19 never truly left us, and lately it's making a quiet but notable return. Hospitals in certain areas are reporting a slow rise in cases. Health officials are once again issuing reminders. And maybe you've even gotten that call from a friend, a neighbor, a cousin saying they tested positive. But the tone this time around feels different. Less panic, more fatigue. People are tired of worrying, tired of isolating, and for many, tired of hearing about COVID at all. But here's where we pause, because for seniors like us, or for those of us who care for older loved ones, this moment is still serious. Not because we want to sound alarm bells, but because a quiet wave can still have strong ripples, especially in the senior community. The comeback of COVID isn't dramatic or headline-grabbing the way it once was. It's subtle. It's hidden in lingering fatigue, mysterious sore throats, or just a little cold that sticks around too long. It's moved into the realm of seasonal viruses now, living among the flu and RSV, waiting for the immune systems of older adults to drop their guard. The difference now is we're not locked in our homes. We're out there again. Going to church, meeting up with friends, attending family birthdays. We've reclaimed our lives, and that's a beautiful thing. But it also means the virus has more opportunities to sneak its way back in. Unlike those early days of sanitizing every grocery item, most people have relaxed their vigilance. And yet the virus hasn't relaxed its ability to evolve. Omicron subvariants are still in circulation, and each one seems to carry its own tricks. Some are more contagious, others better at slipping past vaccine protection. But don't let that overwhelm you. This isn't a warning to retreat, it's a nudge to stay aware. You've made it this far, and that's something to be proud of. Resilience isn't about staying locked away. It's about knowing when to step forward and when to step back. So let's talk about this current COVID landscape, starting with what's really happening. Right now, infection rates are rising slowly but steadily. It's not a tsunami, it's a tide. That means you have time. Time to make smart choices, time to protect yourself, and time to adapt, just like you've always done, you might wonder. If it's not as deadly anymore, why the fuss? The truth is, while younger people bounce back faster, older adults still face significantly higher risks of hospitalization and complications. Even a mild infection can spiral into something more serious when your body is already managing other conditions. That's not fear, it's fact, and facts help us stay safe. Another thing to remember, immunity fades. Even if you've had COVID or received a vaccine, your protection isn't permanent. That booster you got last year, it may be time to consider another. Health authorities are recommending updated shots for this year's dominant strains. And yes, they're still especially urging people over 60 to roll up their sleeves. And what about long COVID? That's still very much a concern, particularly in older adults. Ongoing fatigue, shortness of breath, brain fog, these can linger for weeks or months, stealing away precious energy and independence. Preventing the infection in the first place is still your best line of defense. But let's be clear, this isn't about locking yourself away. It's about moving forward with eyes open and tools in hand. The good news is we have tools. We have updated vaccines, access to testing, new medications that reduce severity, and the wisdom of lived experience. You know what to look out for. You know what works for you. And you have the power to decide how to use that knowledge in your day-to-day life. Let's also acknowledge something important, the emotional side of this. Many seniors felt forgotten during the first waves, isolated, overlooked. This time, we're telling a different story. You matter. Your safety matters. Your peace of mind matters. And your life, your freedom to live it fully, is still worth protecting. So what does that look like? For now, It might mean checking your local case counts before heading to crowded events, wearing a mask again in certain indoor places, not because you're scared, but because you're wise. It might mean making sure your boosters are up to date or carrying a test kit when you travel. These are small, simple actions with a big impact, and maybe, most importantly, it means starting to talk again. COVID conversations have gone quiet, but we need to bring them back not as doom and gloom, but as part of everyday health. Ask your friends, have you gotten your shot this season? Mention it at your book club or your bridge game. Normalize taking care of yourself, because here's the truth: COVID isn't gone. But neither is your strength, your adaptability, or your right to a safe, connected life. This chapter is different, but it's not over. And the more we understand how the virus is returning, the better prepared we'll be to meet it head-on, without losing our sense of joy and connection. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's look at why this comeback matters so deeply for seniors, what makes aging bodies uniquely vulnerable, and what we can do to stay ahead of the curve. Let's take a closer look now under the surface of this quiet COVID comeback and talk honestly about why seniors remain one of the most vulnerable groups even today. Yes, the world has changed. Yes, we have vaccines and better treatments. But aging doesn't take a break just because we've adapted to a new normal. And COVID doesn't discriminate based on how ready we feel for life to move on. The immune system, like the rest of the body, changes with age. It becomes slower to respond, less efficient in remembering past infections, and sometimes confused in its reactions. This means that older adults may not fight off viruses like COVID-19 as quickly or completely. And that delayed or dampened response can give the virus more time to settle in, do damage, or even trigger complications. But it's not just the immune system. As we get older, we often accumulate what doctors call comorbidities, conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, or lung issues. Any one of those conditions can complicate a COVID infection. Together, they create a landscape where even a mild case can throw off balance that's taken years to maintain. Let's not forget about medications. Many seniors take multiple prescriptions every day. Some of those can interact with antiviral treatments. Others might weaken the immune response further. All of this makes COVID not just a respiratory virus, but a real risk factor in the broader context of senior health. There's also the practical reality that many older adults live in close proximity to others, retirement communities, assisted living shared homes. These environments are wonderful for companionship, but challenging for infection control. The virus moves fast where people live and gather in close quarters. And while isolation helped reduce transmission in the early years, it came at a steep cost to mental and emotional health. No one wants to go back to that. The loneliness, the stillness, the aching for human touch. That's not living, that's surviving. And seniors, perhaps more than any other group, know the value of living with purpose, with people, with laughter. So the question isn't, should we retreat again? It's, how can we protect that life without losing it? Part of the answer lies in being realistic about risk. That doesn't mean being afraid. It means being informed. It means knowing that even if symptoms start mild, just a little fatigue or sore throat, the stakes are higher when you're older. COVID is still capable of tipping the scales, not just in physical health, but in independence. A hospitalization, even a short one, can lead to weeks or months of rehab. It can shake confidence, set off memory decline, or even change how safely someone can live at home. These are the stories not often told on the news, but they matter. They happen every day. That's why we're talking about this, because seniors deserve the full picture. Not just statistics, but context. Not just warnings, but wisdom. We also need to address how stress affects the aging body. The last few years haven't been easy. Constant worry, changes in routine, disruptions in healthcare, all of these have taken a toll. And chronic stress suppresses the immune system further, making recovery harder and increasing vulnerability to all kinds of illness, including COVID. Then there's sleep. Quality sleep is essential for immunity, but many older adults struggle with insomnia, fragmented rest, or medication-induced fatigue. That sleep deficit chips away at resilience. So when a virus like COVID comes knocking, it finds a body that's already stretched thin. Nutrition plays a role too. As we age, our appetite can change. We may eat less, absorb fewer nutrients, or rely on convenience foods that lack the vitamins needed for immune health. Vitamin D, zinc, and protein, all crucial for fighting infection, are often too low in senior diets. That makes it harder to fight off viruses and bounce back afterward. There's also the hidden factor of mobility. The less we move, the more our systems slow down. A sedentary lifestyle, whether due to physical limitations or habits shaped during lockdowns, affects circulation, lung function, and immune response. Even light daily movement can boost resilience, but when COVID sidelines a person, that movement often stops and recovery takes longer. And finally, there's the social component. Many older adults act as caregivers for spouses, grandchildren, or even other elderly friends. When COVID enters that equation, it's not just a health issue, it's a domino effect. A senior getting sick might mean a whole household goes unsupported. The risks ripple outward, affecting not just one life but many. This is why we're not being alarmist when we talk about senior vulnerability. We're being honest. We're laying out the full picture not to scare you, but to empower you. Because the truth is, once you understand how the pieces fit together, you can start moving them in your favor. Think of it like this: your body is a team. Aging might mean the players have changed a bit, some slower, some less responsive, but with the right coaching and strategy, you can still win the game. You just have to play smart. That's where we're heading next. Enough of the why, now let's focus on how. How do you keep living your life, seeing your people, and doing what you love without letting COVID sneak back in? What's changed in our tools, and what stayed the same? You've been through a lot already, and you've learned a lot too. Let's build on that. Let's talk about protection that actually works. Now that we've unpacked why COVID-19 continues to pose a serious threat to seniors, it's time to focus on the part that puts you in the driver's seat, what actually works today to protect your health. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is peace of mind and practical safety, so you can live your life with less worry and more freedom. Let's start with vaccines. You've probably heard the chatter, some people saying they're done with shots, others unsure whether the latest booster even makes a difference. But let's set the record straight. For older adults, updated vaccines are still one of the most powerful tools we have. They're not just about avoiding infection. They're about staying out of the hospital, preventing severe symptoms, and shortening the time it takes to recover. Each year, scientists reformulate COVID vaccines to better match circulating strains, just like the flu shot. And if you're over 60, the CDC and most global health agencies strongly recommend getting the most recent booster, especially heading into cold and flu season. It's a small appointment that can prevent a cascade of complications down the line. If you haven't had a booster in the last 6 months, it may be time to check in with your doctor or local pharmacy. But protection doesn't stop at vaccines. It continues in the everyday choices you make, your routines, your habits, your environment. One of the easiest steps you can take is to wear a mask in crowded indoor settings. Yes, we know you're tired of them. But this isn't about fear, it's about wisdom. A high-quality mask like an N95 or KF94 still provides excellent protection in places where viruses are most likely to spread. Grocery stores, airports, waiting rooms, public transit. Think of it like wearing sunglasses on a sunny day. You don't do it because you're scared of the sun. You do it because you're smart. Because protecting your health doesn't have to be loud or complicated. It can be subtle, quiet, and consistent. Ventilation is another unsung hero. The air we share indoors is where COVID travels most freely. So open windows when you can. Use fans to circulate air. If you're hosting a gathering, consider doing it outdoors or in a space with good airflow. These simple adjustments can make a real difference, especially in the colder months when we tend to gather inside. Testing has evolved too. You don't need to run to a clinic every time you feel a tickle in your throat. Home test kits are still widely available and can give you answers in 15 minutes. Keep a few on hand, just like Band-Aids or thermometers. If you test early and positive, you can access antiviral treatments faster, which is especially important for seniors. Speaking of treatments, there are now medications like Paxlovid that can reduce the severity and duration of a COVID infection, but they work best when taken within the first few days of symptoms. That means no waiting around, no toughing it out. If you feel off, act quickly. Call your doctor, get tested, and ask if treatment is appropriate for you. And what about the people around you? Your circle, your friends, your family, your neighbors, they play a role too. It's okay to ask them if they're feeling well before visiting. It's okay to suggest they test if they've been around someone sick. Setting boundaries isn't rude, it's respectful. It shows you value your time together enough to want it to be safe. Let's also revisit the importance of hygiene. We don't need to go back to scrubbing every grocery item, but hand washing is still your frontline defense. Soap, warm water, 20 seconds, especially after being in public or before eating. Carry a little hand sanitizer when you're on the go. It's such a small habit, but it guards you against more than just COVID, flu, stomach bugs, all kinds of seasonal trouble. And don't forget your immune system support crew. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, and movement. They're your foundation. Sleep helps your body recover and reset. Aim for at least 7 hours of good rest a night. If that's hard to come by, talk to your doctor. There are gentle solutions that don't involve heavy sedatives. Nutrition is another line of defense. Focus on whole foods, colorful vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains. Make sure you're getting enough vitamin D, especially in winter. Consider a daily multivitamin if recommended by your provider. And drink more water than you think you need. Staying hydrated supports every system in your body, from digestion to brain health to immune response. Movement doesn't have to mean the gym. A daily walk, stretching in the morning, light housework, it all counts. It gets your blood flowing, your lungs working, and your body ready to respond to any invader, including viruses, and maybe most overlooked, stay socially connected. Isolation weakens more than just the heart, it weakens immunity, cognition, and mood. Keeping in touch with others, even virtually, helps lower stress and boosts emotional resilience. The people who weather these waves best are the ones who stay engaged, informed, and supported. Let's be honest, though it's not always easy. Some days it feels like everyone else has moved on, and you're the only one still thinking about COVID. But that's not true. More people are cautious than you think, they're just quieter about it. You're not alone, and you're not being dramatic for wanting to stay safe. In fact, you're being brave, because it takes courage to care for your future self. To say, I choose to live fully and wisely. I choose to keep showing up not just for myself, but for the people who love me. So yes, COVID is still here, but you are too. And you have everything you need to keep going stronger, safer, and more empowered than ever. In the final section, we're going to tie it all together. We'll talk about how to live fully without letting fear lead the way, and how to make health not just a priority, but a pathway to joy. You've made it this far through a pandemic, through changes in how we live, connect, and even think about our own health. That alone deserves respect. But now, the question becomes, how do you move forward in a world where the virus still lingers without feeling like you're living in its shadow? Let's be clear, this is not about hiding. It's not about retreating. It's about living wisely. For seniors, that doesn't mean giving up the things that bring joy. It means shaping your routines in a way that honors both your safety and your spirit. Because health is not just about avoiding illness, it's about preserving what you love most, your independence, your relationships, your ability to wake up and say, yes, I can do that today. That begins with making your safety practices feel like freedom, not restriction. When you wear a mask on the bus or ask someone to test before a family gathering, you're not limiting yourself, you're creating the conditions that allow you to be present. You're giving yourself the best odds of showing up next week, next month, next season. The truth is, fear fades when replaced with clarity. And clarity comes from having a plan. You already know what works: vaccines, hygiene, ventilation, awareness. Build those into your life like muscle memory. Get your boosters when they're due, just like you get your teeth cleaned or your prescriptions refilled. Keep masks on hand, not because you use them every day, but because they're there when you need them, like an umbrella on a cloudy day. And here's something we don't talk about enough. Saying no can be an act of self-care. You don't have to attend every event. You don't have to explain yourself when you set boundaries. If someone doesn't understand, that's okay. Your health comes first. The people who truly care will understand, and they'll want to protect you too. But don't only say no. Say yes to the things that make life beautiful. Walks in the park, mornings on the porch, quiet chats with a good friend, new books, old movies, singing in the shower, dancing in your kitchen. COVID may have taught us how fragile life is, but that lesson only makes moments sweeter when we take them back. And while we're being real, let's talk about joy. Because even in all this seriousness, joy is still medicine. Laughter, connection, music, nature. These things boost your immune system just as surely as vitamins and sleep. When we feed the spirit, the body responds. This isn't fluff. It's science. Emotional well-being directly impacts physical health. That means protecting your joy is just as vital as wearing a mask or washing your hands. Part of living fully also means asking for help when you need it. Seniors are often the ones giving help, offering wisdom, solving problems, but you're allowed to receive too. Whether it's a ride to the doctor, help managing a medication schedule, or just someone to talk to when the news gets heavy, support is a strength, not a weakness. Lean into your community, your friends, your neighbors, your faith groups. Let people show up for you. Technology can help with that. If you're comfortable using a smartphone or computer, you can stay connected even from afar. Video calls, group chats, telehealth appointments, they aren't just tools for convenience. They're lifelines. If you're not comfortable yet, this is a great time to learn. Libraries, senior centers, even your local pharmacist can help you get started. Don't let tech be a wall. Let it be a bridge. And remember, planning isn't pessimism. Having a go bag ready, keeping emergency, contacts updated, having extra masks and tests on hand, these aren't signs of paranoia. They're signs of readiness. They let you live with more ease, because you know you're covered if things change quickly. Let's circle back to the idea that's been humming quietly beneath everything we've talked about. Choice. You have choices. Every day. This virus doesn't take that away. It changes the landscape, yes, but not your ability to move through it with grace, intelligence, and dignity. You are not defined by this virus. You are defined by everything you've already overcome, everything you continue to offer the world. You carry stories, wisdom, perspective. COVID doesn't diminish that. If anything, your survival adds to it. You're a walking example of resilience. So here's what I want you to carry forward. Not fear, but awareness. Not retreat, but adjustment. Not isolation, but connection with care. Take these tools, these habits, and fold them into your life like a favorite quilt. Something you reach for when it gets cold, something that brings comfort and strength. There's power in choosing how you live, and that power is still yours. Wind down, 300 words. Let's slow it down now. Let it all settle in. You've heard a lot about risk, about protection, about the reality of COVID-19 coming back, and what that means for your health. But more than anything, you've heard that you are not powerless. Far from it. You know your body better than anyone else. You know what makes you feel strong, what drains your energy, what lifts your spirits. Trust that knowing. Combine it with the facts, with the tools we've laid out, and you've got a map to live wisely without giving up the parts of life that make it sweet. Remember, small choices stack up. One walk a day, one extra glass of water, one call to your doctor, one deep breath before deciding what's best for you. These aren't dramatic gestures, they're quiet acts of care that build into something lasting. And maybe the most important part, you're not alone. Others are walking this path too. If today's message resonated, share your thoughts in the comments. Let's build a space where seniors support each other, learn together, and laugh through the uncertainty. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe, there's more coming just for you. Because your health, your happiness, your safety, it matters. Not just to you, but to all of us. So here's to you. Here's to living fully with both feet on the ground and your eyes open. Here's to the courage it takes to keep going, even when the world changes again. Here's to living your best life at any age.